On a quiet rainy afternoon, 16-year-old Eli Carter wandered through the busy street market near his neighborhood. Eli was tall and thin, with messy dark brown hair that constantly fell over his sharp green eyes. His narrow face and slightly pointed chin gave him a thoughtful look, especially when he was lost in his own worries. Wearing his faded black hoodie, gray jeans, and worn white sneakers, he moved slowly past the colorful stalls and glowing lights reflecting off the wet pavement. Eli had been thinking about the same thing all day, his failing math grade and the fear of disappointing his family again. As he passed one of the fruit stalls, something unusual caught his eye on the ground. Lying between two puddles was a strange silver coin covered in tiny symbols that looked ancient and mysterious. Curious, Eli bent down and picked it up. The moment it touched his palm, he felt a strange warmth spreading through his hand. Half joking but secretly hopeful, Eli quietly whispered a wish that he could somehow pass his math test. As the words left his mouth, the coin pulsed softly, and a sudden chill ran through his body, leaving him with the unsettling feeling that something had just listened. The next morning, Eli sat nervously in his classroom waiting for the math tests to be returned. Beside him was his best friend Maya Lin, a thoughtful and observant girl with straight black hair tied into a low ponytail and warm brown eyes that always seemed to notice when something was wrong. She wore her usual denim jacket over a bright yellow hoodie and black jeans, tapping her pencil against the desk as the teacher began handing out papers. Eli tried to ignore the strange coin sitting in his pocket, but he could still feel its faint warmth. When the teacher finally placed the test on his desk, Eli stared down at the paper in disbelief. Written clearly at the top was a bold A. His heart raced with excitement and confusion at the same time. He had never scored that high before, and he knew he hadn't suddenly become a math genius overnight. Before he could even process it, the teacher suddenly spoke again, her voice filled with concern. She explained that another student had suddenly collapsed during the test and had to be taken to the hospital. The classroom fell silent. Eli slowly slipped his hand into his pocket, feeling the coin grow warmer, and a terrible thought began forming in his mind. That evening, Eli sat alone in his bedroom staring at the silver coin resting in his palm. The dim light from his desk lamp cast long shadows across the walls, making the strange symbols on the coin seem even more mysterious. His mind kept replaying everything that had happened, the wish, the perfect test score, and the student collapsing. Part of him wanted to believe it was all a coincidence, but another part of him feared the truth. Curiosity slowly pushed aside his hesitation. Eli thought about the financial struggles his family had been facing and quietly made another wish, hoping for money that could help his parents. The coin warmed instantly in his hand, glowing faintly before becoming still again. The next day, his father came home with surprising news. After a minor accident at work, the company had provided a large insurance payment that would help cover their bills. While his family celebrated the unexpected relief, Eli felt a growing knot of guilt inside him. Something good had happened to them, but it had come from someone else getting hurt. For the first time, Eli realized that the coin might truly be granting his wishes, and that every wish might come with a terrible cost. For days, Eli carried the coin with him, unsure whether he should use it again or throw it away. The weight of the secret became too much to keep hidden, and one evening he finally told Maya everything. They sat together under the small bus shelter near their school while rain dripped steadily from the roof above them. Eli held out the silver coin and explained how every wish he made seemed to come true, but only after something bad happened somewhere else. Maya listened carefully, her brown eyes filled with concern as she studied the strange symbols carved into the metal. The more Eli talked, the more the pattern made sense. Maya suggested that the coin might demand a price for every wish granted, like some kind of ancient balance. As they looked closer at the coin together, they noticed small scratches and marks along its edges, as if someone long ago had tried desperately to destroy it. The realization made Eli's stomach sink. If the coin had been passed around before, how many other people had used it, and how much damage had it caused? Even after understanding the danger, Eli found it almost impossible to ignore the coin's power. The problems in his life didn't simply disappear, and the temptation to fix everything with a single wish kept returning. One night, sitting alone on his bed in the quiet apartment, Eli turned the coin slowly between his fingers. His mother had recently lost her job, and the stress was starting to show on her face every day. Eli felt helpless watching his family struggle. The coin glowed faintly in the dim light of the room, almost as if it were waiting for him to speak again. After a long moment of hesitation, he whispered one more wish, that his mother would find a better job soon. The following morning, she received a phone call offering her a new position with better pay. She was overjoyed, and for a moment Eli felt relief wash over him. But that same afternoon, news spread through the neighborhood about a small business that had been destroyed by a sudden fire. As Eli listened, the terrible truth settled heavily in his chest. Every good thing the coin gave him was being taken from someone else. Eli finally realized that the only way to stop the damage was to get rid of the coin completely. He met Maya outside town near an old stone bridge that crossed a wide river. The wind blew through Eli's messy hair as he stared down at the strange object that had changed everything. Maya stood beside him, her expression serious but supportive. They studied the coin again, noticing the strange symbols that seemed to warn of consequences. Eli knew what he had to do, even though it meant risking one final wish. Holding the coin tightly in his hand, he closed his eyes and wished for the coin to lose its power forever so no one else could ever use it again. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the coin suddenly grew hot and cracked loudly down the middle. The ancient symbols faded as the metal split into two lifeless pieces. Without hesitation, Eli tossed the broken halves into the river below, watching them disappear beneath the dark water. Life slowly returned to normal in the days that followed. Eli walked to school each morning wearing his faded black hoodie and gray jeans, his messy dark brown hair still falling over his green eyes the way it always had. Maya walked beside him, her black ponytail swaying gently as they talked about ordinary things again. The strange coin was gone, resting somewhere deep at the bottom of the river where it could never harm anyone again. But the experience had changed Eli in a way he would never forget. He understood now how dangerous it could be to take shortcuts in life, especially when those shortcuts came at someone else's expense. Real success, real happiness, and real solutions didn't come from magic objects or easy wishes. They came from patience, effort, and the people who stood beside you when things were difficult. And every time Eli remembered the glowing coin and the price it demanded, he felt grateful that some lessons were learned before it was too late.